something really heartwarming about having a nervous developer show you the game they poured all their heart into making for the first time. Gamescom takes this feeling to a whole new level with developers from all over the world hanging out in the world's biggest ever indie mega booth. There are so many gorgeous games to see here, but I did my best to pick the ones that stood out to me the most to tell you guys about, in no particular order because orders are hard, okay? The first is Rite of Ilk, a gorgeous local co-op adventure game that tells the story of two children who have been sacrificed as part of a ritual, and it's being developed in the Netherlands. They were essentially thrown down a hole and forced to prove to the gods that they could cooperate to supposedly save their tribe from the edge of extinction. It's pretty intense. They're tied together by a rope, which is a driving mechanic and what really encourages cooperative play. You knock down a pillar by looping your rope behind it and running forward, and if one player stays still in a high place, the other can jump below them and use the rope as a swing. It also takes place in what looks to be a very open, broad world with so many options for paths to take in a series of diverse, often colourful environments. It's shaping up to be a great game to play with a friend, even with someone who doesn't necessarily game a lot, and I'm excited to find out more about the world. It doesn't have a release date just yet, and what I played was pre-alpha, so it could change a lot. Next is A Hat in Time, a totally adorable 3D platformer that also happens to be the largest Kickstarter-funded indie 3D platformer, reaching almost 1000% of its original Kickstarter goal. The game is being developed in Denmark and is heavily inspired by Super Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, and Psychonauts, which are easily some of my favorite gaming experiences ever. It's for sure iterative of those games, but does present concepts of its own. The one that really pushed me to include it here is local and online co-op. Every part of the game is network compatible, meaning that even as something designed as a single-player experience, you can play every part of it with 2 players. As someone who grew up playing Banjo-Kazooie, swapping a Nintendo 64 controller with my sister, the idea that I could play the entire game like that has me absolutely sold. 3D platformers are a delight as is, and this one looks gorgeous, has a unique take on time and interstellar travel, and can be played with friends. Awesome. It's coming to PS4, Xbox One, Windows, and Mac in fall 2017. Last but not least is Lonely Mountains Downhill, a game made in Germany that I never would have thought I'd add to this list based on elevator pitch alone. It calls itself a thrilling ride down an unspoiled mountain landscape, and it honestly is pretty stressful despite having a sort of peaceful art style and a lot of pleasant environments. You have to jump, slide, and race your way from the top of the mountain to the bottom through thick forests, narrow trails, and wide rivers, and it can be very unforgiving. It's addictive in the same way old SSX games were, maybe with a bit of trials thrown in. Thanks to really satisfying bike physics, every time you slide around a corner, you can learn to predict how far you'll go. The controls are tight and easy to pick up, so the challenge is really in learning how to adapt to the rough terrain. You can also totally go off the path too, taking some risks to get down to the bottom. It was really hard for me to pull myself away from this one despite having pretty much no interest in mountain biking. Lonely Mountains Downhill is coming to Steam for Windows and Mac in 2018. And those are just 3 of the stacks of incredible indie games I saw at this year's Gamescom Indie Mega Booth, which is a place that I honestly really didn't want to leave. For more on indie games, stay right here on IGN.